Good evening. Welcome to the City Council Committee on Drug Education and Awareness for September 8th. Tonight, I had made this motion a couple months ago, and it's a little late in the making, but obviously the Health Department and the Health of Peabody Collaborative had some more pressing issues to deal with the pandemic. And since I hope I've given Sharon, Cameron, and the mayor and everybody enough time to catch their breath from that before we go back. But several years ago, if the council recalls, the health director, Ms. Cameron, came before us and gave us some numbers on overdoses throughout the city, and Sarah Gunnell and Sandy Drover from the Healthy Peabody Collaborative came before us and also told us about some programs that I don't even think most of us were aware of, in the event of the use of Narcan, that there is a follow-up by the city. And what brought this forward today primarily was a discussion with His Honor the Mayor regarding the opioid settlement that we received several months ago. So I'd like to ask the Mayor to come up and speak on that very briefly before we move on to the Health Director. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to thank you, Councilor Turco, for having this meeting. This is an issue, as all of us know, of a grave importance, and I appreciate you bringing this forward so we can start having this discussion. You may be aware, I think all of you are, a few years ago, we entered into a class action lawsuit. We signed as a community to go into a class action lawsuit against a number of distributors and manufacturers of opioids. It's been organized and run through the Attorney General's office, Maura Healy, and we had our first settlement with Johnson & Johnson, one of the manufacturers. There's a number of groups in this. Just to name a couple, the distributors are McKesson, Cardinal Health, Amerisource, Bergen, and then one of the manufacturers is Johnson & Johnson. So we've entered into a settlement with a number of those manufacturers and distributors now. I believe there's also going to be continuing litigation. There could be also activity. We get notices and have stayed on board with emails through our city solicitor, Don Kahn, just to keep updated. We've had to provide them a great deal of information that Sharon Cameron, the health department, our school department provided to kind of give some indication as to the effect that the opioid epidemic has had on the city of Peabody. So very proud and happy to say that we joined in that litigation and are one of the Massachusetts communities that were a part of that class action lawsuit. So there was a settlement that was again run through the the Attorney General's office. And our first settlement check came in this summer, and it was for $52,313.56. Now, it's a settlement we're going to get over the next 15 years. We're going to be receiving over $1 million, well over $1 million, over the next 15 years. The yearly payments range from $52,000, this is the first payment, it's the lowest payment, and then it goes up to about $100,000, and then kind of filters back down in year 15. So we have a significant funding to discuss, and certainly I'm happy to have this discussion. Again, I appreciate Councilor Turco bringing this forward because it's an important discussion for all of us to have. We checked the settlement we had to sign up through a portal and all of that. We did check this morning, and that the $52,313 and change is in our account. It can be utilized for a number of different areas, different programs. I wanted to provide that to you. It's lengthy, it's a few pages, but it really breaks down the program and what we could potentially utilize this money for. So, Mr. Chairman, if I can.
Can I get a motion to receive from one of the members?
Under the suspension of the rules, motion to receive.
All in favor, any opposed, to vote. Very briefly, for some housekeeping, I just realized I did not announce the two sitting members along with myself on this committee are Councilor Manning Martin, who was a longtime chair of this committee, and Councilor Walton. And then we have the entire council with the exception of Councilor Gamache, who may arrive shortly.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, thank you. So that this paperwork, these documents kind of break down what we were provided as to the potential uses for the settlement funds, give us a guideline. We've had some few internal discussions with Sharon Cameron, but certainly is discussion that needs to be broader and to include all of us as the best potential ways to help our community, help our residents, and really fight the opioid epidemic. And I'm happy to take part in this discussion, Mr. Chairman, and happy to answer any questions on the settlement or on the pending litigation.
Mayor, thank you very much. And I just want to say again, you know, I brought this, or had this discussion with the mayor several months ago, and he mentioned the opioid settlement. So I want to say thank you, Mayor, for being open to ideas from the council, because I know you probably have 1,000 ways that you could invest $52,000 into rehabilitation programs. So thank you for welcoming our thoughts and ideas. So I look forward to that. For those of you that don't know, during the pandemic, I lost 2 siblings to drug overdoses, one in September of 2000, one in November of 2000. And I believe largely that was because there was no in-person treatment at a lot of places. And, you know, my siblings had struggled. I lost another brother in 1995 at 26 years old of a drug overdose. So that's 3 siblings I've lost. But the 2 that I recently lost, both also struggled with mental health issues. One was bipolar, severely bipolar, and when he could have in-person communication with somebody at 50 years old, it worked for him. He needed to be in constant contact, and I think during the pandemic, as often happens with opioid use, it takes a back seat to other issues. Rightfully so with the pandemic, but there'll always be an issue why opioids take the backseat, or drug addiction takes a backseat to more important issues. So Mayor, again, sorry to be long-winded, but it's an important issue to me, and I just, again, want to say thank you for having this discussion.
Okay. Thank you,
Mr.
Councilor.
Mayor.
Thank you for sharing that with us. A couple things I wanted to mention. The Department of Revenue oversees the disbursement of the funds. So they required us to set up an account that we have set up through a portal, Mr. Gingras and Mary Martin. But that money has to be voted on by the council to be received and then transferred into that account that's required to be set up. So I think at the next council meeting, Mr. Gingras said that will be in front of you. Before we transfer that money out to any potential uses, it has to be first voted on, received by you, and sent to that account. Similar to what you do on the, for the Comcast and RCN bills. Those comes in and just received and sent to that account. But that'll give you, it looks like it's going to be payable during the summer. It was told to us that it was going to be July 15th. We didn't receive it till a few weeks after that, but it would be somewhere each summer we would receive that. It would be submitted to you, again, to be received, and then sent to the appropriate account. Again, similar to what we do with Comcast. And I know our Health Director, Sharon Cameron, has some ideas. I'm certainly sure the Healthy Peabody Collaborative as well. But I know, Council, you have some good ideas, and again, happy to take part in the discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you leave, I just wanted to open that up. Does anybody from the council, any members, Council Manning Martin, Council Walton, have any questions for the mayor before I move to the health director? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Cameron, if you could.
Thank you, councilors. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Grinnell to get started with her presentation, and I'll jump in midway through.
Thank you very much.
Sorry,
That's a lie. She meant Sandy Drover. Because in thinking of the continuum of care, we would start with prevention first, work our way up to treatment and recovery. And I'm the prevention girl, so that's why we chose me. Why do I hear an echo? I don't know. All right. So
I just interrupted, I think because your volume might be on higher on your
how do
computer, which you might want to turn the volume down. It might be.
I don't know how to do that. I'm going to just put my tech people on that.
While we're waiting, I don't know if I mentioned, but Sandy and Sarah both with the Healthy Peabody Collaborative that work through the Peabody Police Department, and I'm sure you're going to give us more information about some programs that you have.
Very resonant voice. No one has ever asked me to use a microphone. My name is Sandy Drova, like Councilor Turco said. Next week, I'll celebrate my 14th anniversary in this role as Healthy Peabody Collaborative Outreach Coordinator. I'm pretty passionate about the work that I do, and I'm going to talk very fast about a lot of different things. So if anything that I say piques your interest, your curiosity, you want to share, you say, oh, I got to share this resource with her, ideas, suggestions, my contact information and Sarah's and Sharon's will be on the last page. Feel free to schedule me for a walk and talk, a coffee date, even though I don't drink coffee. They don't let me have caffeine, and we can dig deeper in, or if you just want to learn more about what I'm about to say, we can dig deeper into that. So I am kind of a shutterbug, and I'm going to talk about the pictures in the presentation. This is our slide that shows our mission. We're about creating a healthier Peabody for all who live, work, and play here. This picture is last year's grade 7 and 8 middle school group. They call themselves the ATI Club. ATI is an acronym that's left over from a large scale, and by large scale I mean it was the national anti-drug campaign called Above the Influence. We still embrace the philosophy of that, although the campaign's no longer used at the national or state or regional or local level. And that is helping to raise these kids to live above the influence of negative and risky behaviors. That would include drug and alcohol use, of course, and give them a platform for recognizing the positive things they have in their life and how to stand up against the negative things, negative influences. Let's see if I did that right. This is just the table of contents, but this picture shows an awesome full circle moment of something we did last year. That grade 7 and 8 ATI Club, they organized positive youth development activities in grades 3 and 4. This is South School. That little girl was the winner of her art contest in grade 3. I brought the poster that she's holding for you to look at. It's pretty awesome. We asked grade 3 and 4 who makes them feel like they matter, realizing that the science shows the number one thing that a kid can have to stay off drugs, to become the best version of themselves, to grow up as healthy, caring, and responsible adults, is an adult that cares about them. That often is their mom and dad, but it doesn't end there, and it doesn't have to be the mom and dad. And we just are working on building the web of support for these kids so that when they have a awkward question, they need guidance or counsel, there's people for them to turn to. So these contests, although they seem fluffy because they're art and essay contests, it's built in science, and we just want to get the kids to think critically about who is that person for them, who are those people for them, and if they can't come up with the names of those people, we can help connect them. And then also this elevates people that they can seek out. So this is, that's Bianca, and she shouted out her grandmother. We learned through this contest that her mom has cancer and was undergoing treatment, and her grandmother really stepped forward when they needed some help in the house. So this was really cool because we arranged for the first time for grades 7 and 8 to have a field trip from school. They left at the end of the day. They went to South School, and they presented this Bianca and her peers in grade 4 with their award. And we work all year long on their leadership skills, their public speaking skills, and they used it all that day. This was a day I was walking on air. This was a great, great day. All right, I'll just go forward. Our philosophy, really, we're just Healthy Peabody Collaborative is a bunch of people that get together from all sectors of the community who believe in positive change and take action to make that positive change, not only in Peabody, our neighboring communities, and I'd even go as far to say the state and federal levels, because we have been tapped as a model community for prevention, youth engagement. I've been to DC to speak before the Senate to train people that are new to get this funding, so Peabody's doing all right here. I chose this slide. This was a focus group that we held at the beginning of last year. So these kids are post-pandemic, hopefully. It's the year 2022, the age of technology. I asked them, with a group of people, what's it like to be a teenager? What are your struggles? What are the hard things? And we had very rich conversation around that. segue into that, this is Michaela. That is her grade 7 picture, where I asked the kids, what is it that you need to be the best version of yourself? The best citizen, the best student, the best athlete, the best teammate, the best kid, the best daughter. And they looked over all of the 40 developmental assets. 40 developmental assets, a lot of people have heard me talk about that before. They are the experiences, the relationships, and the opportunities that kids need to be the best version of themselves. They looked over the list, we talked a lot about it, and they told me they needed to feel good about themselves. So we embarked on a positive talk campaign. I would talk about the I Am campaign for the next 2 weeks if you wanted to hear about it. It was a very rewarding process. One thing Mr. Lampkin and I agree on, it's not always the deliverable, but the process. And the kids learn a lot. Michaela came back to us as a junior in high school, she's a senior this year, to help conduct that focus group that you just saw. The kids really related to her. It was great to have her on board. So I thought it was important to I love to see the full circle moments. We do hold on to these kids well past 7th and 8th grade. They come back to us. We hired somebody to make a video for us, which you could access. I wanted to show it, but it's 2 minutes and 46 seconds long, so it got the axe. But it shows what we did 1 year ago today, which is our Because of You campaign that's coming up. It's on our Facebook page, so if you have to spare 2 minutes and 46 seconds, I'd love for you to look at it. I included a quote from Jen Davis. We do work closely with her. What's happening? The picture I chose for this is, we ask the kids, what are your struggles? What are the hard things? And then we want them to know what's good. What's happening in your life? What do you need from us as a community? And we got a lot of good things there. And what's happening, very briefly, the Because of You campaign is first and foremost, again, just getting the kids to think critically about who they have in their lives that can point them in the right direction, that can hold them accountable, that they will be there listening to them without judgment, that kind of thing. In the elementary school level, I mentioned the grade 3 art contest. There was a grade 4 essay contest. We just talked this morning about expanding that into grade 5. And then in the middle school, our partnership is really the ATI club. We do a lot with those kids. It's amazing. We usually go October to June, and we are scheduled to meet every other week, but we end up meeting every week because they love it that much. It has something to do with the snacks that I provide, but also I think they really enjoy the work they're doing. And then at the high school level, we've had different levels of engagement at the high school, and we're looking forward to working with the new principal and assistant principal. I reached out to them prior to school, trying to get a meeting on board to, on the books to see how we could share resources with them and partner with them further. But currently what we're doing, and that they wanted to get their school year up and underway, and I'm going to meet with them soon, but currently our big partnership there is with the Career Tech Education, aka VOC, Protective Services Program, where we're helping to coordinate some externships and sit on their advisory board, which I'm missing right now because it's happening up at the high school. This is my own personal philosophy, but it translates very well into my professional philosophy of all kids are our kids. It really does take a village. I threw up the Student Government Day photo just to remind me about that lovely young woman. She was my follower on Student Government Day, something I love to be part of and feel privileged. But our relationship with her is she helped us and some of her friends with some tobacco advocacy work at the state level. We went to the State House and talked to our legislators. Another great thing for them to learn about the local government, public speaking, all of that. I did include, that's a couple years old, that's pre-pandemic. That's the I Am campaign where those kids are holding up a likeness of themselves. That campaign had a lot of legs in it, but very proud and can't believe that 7th grade and 8th grade students would allow their picture to be put up around their school. I just don't think that would have been my choice at that age. And then on the right there is a first-year teacher, Miss Lindquist, and she was given a Champion for Youth award. That is one of our youth leaders, Casey, and they shouted out this new teacher as someone that they connected with and, really was a positive influence in their life. And that meant a lot to Miss Lindquist. I heard anecdotally, she wasn't really sure of the effect that she was having on the kids, so this meant a great deal to her. That is, the Champion for Youth program is something that we give kids all year long opportunities to tell us who in their lives make them feel like they matter, and then if we can identify the person, we shout them out with the Champion for Youth. All right, I know I'm talking fast. I'm gonna do the first part of this slide, and then I will turn it over to Sarah. I just, we put together some of our partners in prevention, and I'm sure if we, thought long and hard, we'd have more partners than this. But the schools, I talked about our partnership with them. The only thing I didn't talk about is the guest reader program. I'm just so thankful that the Mayo lets us do that because I always choose either Carroll or Welch School in 5th grade so that I can start to have a feeder group for my middle school group. It's a big transition year, and for the past, I've done that for like the past 10 years, but for the past 2 years, that spilled over into summer programming for me. I do have my degree in biology, which I've never used except when they asked me if I would help teach science at summer school, so I was really happy about that. And the kids do recognize me when they get up to the middle school. Oh, that's that nice lady that used to teach me about grizzly bears. The rec department, we've done some really cool things with them. I did put on the Operation Hopscotch, which was a couple years ago, and I know a lot of people in this room were part of that. That was an effort to build caring neighborhoods, which is one of the things that kids need to be the best version of themselves. I included the Home Alone Safety Program, which is something that I co-teach with the, it's a rec department program, and then also the fire department and an SRO too. That is a great, it's $20, but that is a great service to our community for kids that may find themselves in a situation where they're home alone. And then, this summer I was able, and I have done this in the past too, but this summer in particular I did a leadership training for the rec department summer employees, and we focused on counselors in training. They're the younger kids, so 14 to 16, and I think that their role is traditionally you're an extra pair of hands and an extra pair of eyes. But after I was done training them, they thought they were the President of the United States because their role was much more than that. I gave them 10 actionable steps that they can take to deepen their relationship with the kids that they're working with, and including simple things like looking them in the eye and using their name and listening to them, truly listening to what they have to offer, stepping back, anyways, it was a great training, and I had them make a contract with themselves about what they would do, what they learned from this training, one thing they would implement over the summer programming, and the answers were just amazing. I mailed the contract back to them 2 weeks into the programming so they could be reminded. They said they were going to be patient with that kid that was driving them crazy. But I told them, that you're the one, the counselor's busy doing the programming, you're the one that can see that kid sitting at the picnic table not engaged, and that's your kid. You're going to sit there and we're going to do all these things that I taught you. Business sector, that's a traditionally difficult sector of the community to engage, but not in Peabody. I go before the Rotary and tell them all these kind of things that I'm telling you, and we recruit them, their members, the chief is one, and we have them read and judge our grade 4 essays. And I put TIPS training in there. That is a safe alcohol training that we do regionally with the towns of Linfield, Topsford, Middleton, and Boxford, and North Reading. And then media, if you want to learn more about what we got going on, check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I use those for different things. And you can see our message spread to the larger audience. And then I did write a series of 5 articles for the Salem Evening News. I don't know how you get those. Maybe just Google my name and Salem Evening News, and those were actionable tips that I gave community members, parents, whoever has kids in their life, which is everybody, that they could do to deepen their relationships with children. And I mentioned the Lynn item because we do have a good relationship with them. And again, it's about the process, not the product. And we had a Lynn Item reporter come and speak to our youth group about journalism as a profession. And it was great because she was from the Ukraine, and she was a female, and it was just awesome for them to see the possibilities that were before them for career path. And then she interviewed them. It was very serious. And we spent a couple of weeks preparing for how to be interviewed. We talked about off the record and, being misquoted and things like that. And that was a wonderful thing. And the article never hit Salem Evening News that she was going to write because she left the paper. So that was a bummer. All right, I'm leaving on that, and I'm going to turn it over to Sarah. But again, if my contact information is at the end of this, if anybody wants to follow up with me further about anything I just rambled on about. Oh, also, too, one second. I did create these brochures for Mayor Betancourt's Senior Day, and this is how seniors can deepen relationships intentionally with the children in their lives, thinking particularly of grandparents, but they don't have to be a grandparent. Then I took the same flyer when I was asked to give something out at the International Festival and put different photos in it. You can take a look at these. These are pretty cool, too. And that's it. Now I'm leaving.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Sandy.
All right, I'm going to try to talk a little bit slower. Just kidding. So I'm Sarah Grinnell. I've also been with the Healthy Peabody Collaborative in the city for 14 years now. I am going to talk a little bit about some more of our partnerships, our funding, and some of the data pieces that apply to the substance abuse situation here in Peabody. So as Sandy mentioned, we work out of the police department as we have since 2008. Our initial funding was for underage alcohol use prevention, specifically law enforcement. So that's how we ended up in the police department. Sharon Cameron wrote our original grant that funded us, so we have a very strong partnership with the health department as well. Since that time, we've continued those partnerships with the police and the health department. We do a lot of work with both departments. Sandy does the social media outreach for the police department. I write a number of different grants. Sharon has continued to work with us on all the policy pieces, tobacco control, and much, much more. Our main source of funding that we have right now is called Mass Call 3, and that's through BSAS, the Bureau of Substance Abuse Services, through the Department of Public Health. And that is a regional grant, which is new. So we have partnered, so we've expanded from just Peabody. We're the lead community, so the funding comes in through us. And then we work with Topsfield, Middleton, Boxford, North Reading, and Linfield. And that funding was supposed to be $125,000 a year for 8 years, but it was recently doubled. So we're receiving $250,000 for the next 2 years, possibly the next 5 years. And that is through FY28. So it will drop back down to the 125 at some point. And it's extendable by 1, 2, or 3 years. So they'll decide as the contract continues. So that was great news that we received recently. Our local, we work with all of our local government, city council, school committee, the mayor's office, the fire department. We do some regional work around after somebody overdoses in the town of Peabody. We do outreach through a number of different organizations that happens a partnership with the fire department and social service agencies. So that's something I know, Councilor Turco, you mentioned about during the pandemic. I think those are the types of programs that weren't there to support people as much as they should or could have been. But I am happy to say that that continued here, and where the plans have been in motion the last few weeks to continue to build that program and to strengthen it. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So I just mentioned our funding, 100% of our prevention funding comes from BSAS and is grant funded. We also have a number of law enforcement grants. Currently, we're funded for body-worn cameras. We're working on implementing those, and hopefully, maybe the first of the year, our officers will be equipped with the cameras. We also receive annual funding from the Edward Byrne Memorial JAG grant. That's federal. We have, on occasion, which is the body-worn camera funding as well, received local JAG grant money. So that gets a little bit confusing from time to time. We have also just began a new partnership with a grant that it's a federal grant, and they received that up in your report. It serves all of Essex County. There's really awesome opportunities there, and we're really looking to expand that partnership. and that's going to help provide those support services when there's an incident of an overdose in our community. So I just, provided a brief overview of some data. I went back to 2017. So you'll see the blue sides, the blue graphs are Peabody residents. So this would be somebody that experienced an incident of overdose either in our community or outside of our community. So basically their legal address is a Peabody resident. That's why you see the difference. And then the darker tealish green graphs are incidents that occurred, deaths that occurred here in Peabody. So there's a pretty big discrepancy, not a big discrepancy, but specifically in 2017, there were 23 Peabody residents across Massachusetts and 12 that occurred in Peabody. So we're hoping that with our regional efforts, with the grant that I just mentioned in Newburyport, out of Newburyport, that we're able to really coordinate services so that we're able to support our residents. Currently we only have access to what happens in our own community. But through that funding, we'll be able to, through databases and through sharing with other law enforcement agencies, be able to provide better support services, both to the person who experienced the overdose and also their family as well, which I think is a piece that we've been, I know I've had a lot of conversations with the chief about having social workers to work with the families and to work with the person to provide the mental health care services that we are lacking, and we know oftentimes it's co-occurring incidents. And then I also provide you some EMS data. So this would be any time an ambulance responds in Peabody to an overdose, typically Narcan is used. All of this data is still being updated. I've made a note that the 2020 and 2021 data is expected to change. So although we do see a dip in 2020, that may go back up. So if I come back before you and the numbers look a little bit different, that's why. So moving forward, we're going to be continuing with our Mass Call 3 money. This is a picture of us with our partners in the neighboring communities. We're going to be doing some strategic planning over probably, I'd say, the next 6 months. We spent the last year or so collecting data and figuring out what needed to happen. And now we're going to start planning for the next 6 or so years of funding. So we're going to be inviting community members to participate in those meetings. So I'm hoping to have everybody here involved. And then as well in our neighboring communities. It'll strengthen what we're doing. We've currently, the same as with the overdose incidents, it's better if we're able to offer wraparound services across all the communities, because all kids are our kids, as Sandy said, and they're moving from community to community. They're not just staying here in Peabody, so we can be more consistent in what we're doing. So we're going to be doing the strategic planning. And then I think the next step for us, Sandy and I have really been focused on primary prevention, which is why that's what most of this presentation was focused on. Pre-pandemic, we were starting to move in the direction of treatment and referrals, and everything, everything kind of came to a halt for a short time, and now we're back working towards that goal. So I think that looking at, that we have the opiate settlement money, we'll be able to sit down, strategically plan for the city. I'm excited to see what the mayor and the group that works on that decides what the direction we're heading in. But I think we really have an opportunity now to be focused on those treatment services that our residents desperately need. There's been a lot that's been happening, and Sharon is going to speak about that now, so I want to turn it over to her.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks. So as Sarah mentioned, we'll see lots of opportunities to expand our efforts about providing access to treatment programs for residents, but there are some things that are in place right now that I wanted to share with people. One of which is called the Interface Referral Service, and I actually have a handout I can give.
Can I get a motion to receive? All in favor, any opposed, it's a vote.
So this is a service operated through William James College that the city pays to enroll in. And through our enrollment, it gives access to any of our residents to call their helpline. So this is not a crisis line for you to call if you need services immediately, but this is for people who have behavioral health needs and need to be connected with a provider. So it's really more of a case management model. You know, many people who have insurance, you can go to your health insurance company and they'll have a whole list of providers on their website that you can sort through. But this is a service where you can call them and say, I need somebody who specializes in substance use issues, and I, you know, can only see people on Wednesdays after 5, and I don't have transportation, and this is my insurance, and I prefer a female provider. And they'll do that level of follow-up for you, and they'll connect you with providers for their care, and then they'll follow up with you to make sure where you were able to get an appointment, did you have a good fit with that provider? If not, we can help work with you to find another provider. So this is a service, it's free to our residents because the city pays to enroll, and we'd really like to get the word out more so people are aware of it. Any Peabody resident can access this. Over the past 2 years where we've had enrolled, they've connected 47 people with services, but obviously there's a lot more potential there for this to be a resource for folks. And then there's a couple of resources that are specifically available to our school students, and one of the most robust is the Student Health Center at Peabody High School. They have, in addition to a full-time nurse practitioner who's got advanced training in medication-assisted treatment, there are 2 full-time behavioral health counselors. So they have training in mental health counseling, but also substance use. And so those resources are available there. In addition, any student who comes into the health center for any reason, whether it's to get, you know, a strep throat test or to get immunizations or for any other reason, they're given what's called a CRAFT screening, and that's an evidence-based tool that the clinician uses to assess them for their risk of substance use. So it's a voluntary assessment that the student would choose to undergo, but it's a way for us to identify students who might be in early stages of contemplating substance use, and you know, we can get them into treatment early, or students who are more actively engaged in substance use, and we can connect with services. They also, through that program, have an alternative to suspension program for students who've been caught using marijuana or vaping products. As an alternative to suspension, they can go through a mandatory 5 sessions, counseling sessions with a trained substance use counselor. So it's a great way to provide a meaningful treatment alternative to kids rather than putting them strictly on a disciplinary track. So that exists at the high school, and we would love for that to exist in all of our schools, but it doesn't. But what we have in place at the other 9 schools is an in-school behavioral health program that we fund through a grant through the State Health Department. It's called the Comprehensive School Health Services Grant. And we've used this grant money to enter into a contract with Family Continuity, which is a community-based behavioral health provider. And so they go into each of the 8 elementary schools in the Higgins Middle School to provide in-school services for kids who've been identified by school administration or school nurses as being in need of mental health services, but are not already connected out of school. So again, it's provided in school. Our grant covers the cost of the sessions for any students who don't have insurance, so that removes the barriers that often families face because they don't have to, you know, get the child to an off-site provider. Hopefully the insurance is not a barrier because we pay for that with the grant if the family's insurance doesn't cover it. We also have the ability to continue, because they are a community-based provider with a location in Peabody. They can provide continuity of care over the school breaks, so they do see students over the summer breaks. And they also have the ability to provide supportive services for the family. So oftentimes they'll be seeing a student in the school setting, but there are other members of the family who would benefit from counseling, and they're able to connect those family members with their services in the community. This year, we're able to budget to increase the number of clinical hours we're providing in the schools. So we're able to double the number of clinicians. We're hoping to have 4 clinicians servicing the 9 schools. This will also give them the ability to do things like groups for kids who don't need individual therapy, but as everybody is aware, I think anxiety and depression is a very common issue lots of students are struggling with, so they can do things like run groups for kids struggling with those issues, and they can also do observations in classrooms if a classroom teacher indicates they'd like to have a student observe to see if there are any needs that need to be met. So this is a great program. Last year, for the 8 elementary schools, I don't have the final data on the Higgins, but in the 8 elementary schools, we saw a total of 100 students, and they provided 1,742 visits over the course of the school year. Going back to another program in the community, North Shore Community Health Center, which is right on Foster Street, has a substance use disorder program, and that's available to people in our community. You don't have to be a primary care patient of North Shore Community Health in order to access this resource. So they provide medication-assisted treatment, including Suboxone. They have peer-to-peer recovery coaches. They have a substance use treatment navigator. This is somebody who can help you find, either an in-placement setting or outpatient services or sober housing. They're able to help navigate the system for you. And they also provide Narcan prescriptions and training. How do I advance the slide here? Okay. And then the other service I will talk about is Leahy has behavioral health services in the community as well. And I also have a handout on their service that I will provide. Thanks.
Can I get a motion to receive?
So they have behavioral health services that you can...
All in favor, any opposed to vote?
Sorry. You can call them for services, but they also have mobile crisis teams, and that's really important. If somebody's experiencing an emergency, and these operate 24/7, 365 days a year, which is important because a lot of times people with mental health issues is exacerbated around holiday periods, and they operate on holidays as well. They have mobile teams that will come out to where you're experiencing the emergency, whether you're at work or at a school setting or some other community setting. They can intervene. They do provide this service to anybody on Mass Health, and for people without insurance. People with private insurance, it may or may not be covered through this resource. So again, we're really excited about the opportunities that the opioid settlement presents, but there are currently resources available in our community for people looking for help. And I'm going to turn it back to, no, is that the last slide? Okay, yeah, here's how to contact us. I think everybody knows. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before you leave, Sharon, can I just ask you, is all this information listed in one place on the city website or on the health department website? Or?
Yeah, so the information about Interface and the Leahy program is on the health department page of the city's website.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all 3 of you coming here tonight. It's been a couple of years since we heard from you through no fault of your own, but I wanted people to be aware that there is a lot of help in this city. I'm going to ask Joseph Simonelli from Woburn Wellness and A Vision from Hope to come up and speak briefly about treatment options available. Joe's a Peabody resident. I'll also say that he is my wife's cousin's son, struggled with addiction personally. I think 5 years now, has been running A Vision for Hope of Woburn Wellness. I'm very proud of him. As an example to parents, Joe struggled at a young age, and his mother was a single mom. His father's also a city councilor in Malden. So successful, very good family, can happen to anybody. And I just wanted Joe to speak about his brief journey and some things that he's accomplished since being sober.
Got that on the first try, right? How you guys doing? My name's Joe Simonelli. I've been in recovery for 5.5 years. I just want to dive into a little bit of my treatment history. My first treatment program was around 17 years old, and I went to a detox in Tewksbury, Mass. It was Tewksbury State Hospital, also under Leahy Health. And what happened with me was I was always able to find a detox program. I went to that first detox, I did 5 days, and I thought that I was going to be able to just bounce back after 5 days. That wasn't the case for me. I thought it was going to be that time, so I went for that 5 days, and I came home and I used immediately. And then I found myself in this vicious cycle where I ended up getting 53 treatment facilities under my belt before the age of 20 years old. So I was in and out of detoxes doing that classic spin dry, and I just couldn't find the resources for aftercare. Every time I went to a detox, they didn't provide me with any options for aftercare, and if they did, it was way out of my budget, my family's budget. The prices on treatment were very high, and there also wasn't many treatment programs around. It wasn't until my 53rd time I went to Danvers Cab, and I stayed there for 7 days, and I was provided with a scholarship for the first 30 days to a 12-step residential treatment program. And that's when I finally got sober. I stayed there for 6 months. My mom had to help me out with the first couple months, which was a huge help. After the first 30 days, I was able to get a job, get back on my feet. I built some fellowship, some support in that program, and that changed my life. And then once I got myself better, I realized that there had to be more treatment like that out there. I realized that I was stuck in a vicious cycle, going in and out of detox facilities. I watched family members do the same thing. I've lost family members to addiction. Friends that I grew up with, same thing, just going in and out of programs. So I grew the passion for helping others. I knew that model worked for me, and I figured it could work for other people as well. So for the next year after getting sober, I worked very hard to, get some funds together, and I first opened one of my first sober living homes. It was very different than your average sober living. It was a 30-day restriction where we gave everybody sponsorship to the 12 steps. We helped with therapy. The same model that worked for me. And then that program, was a huge success, and I saw a lot of people coming through and getting well. I actually brought Rob here with me. Rob was one of the guys that came through the program, and it was a huge success. So I wanted that to grow, and now we have 5 locations. And then I just recently started seeing, treatment programs popping up everywhere, and what I'm also seeing is very difficult to place people with Mass Health. And then again, those treatment prices are, skyrocketing. So what we did after that was we opened a program where we were able to take Mass Health as well. And also we saw a huge success with that, because when I was trying to get sober, I didn't have the funds, I didn't have the, fancy private insurance. I had Mass Health, and there wasn't, many programs. So I wanted to open something that we could be a resource for the communities as well. I work with a couple different cities. I work in Malden. My dad's a city councilor there, so we try to help out with the community there. Weymouth is one of the locations of one of my programs. We work with the police department there as well. So I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. If I can give any feedback on anything or just be a resource, I'm here to help.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for any of the speakers, including Mr. Simonelli, Councilor Walton?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, congratulations. I know that has been quite a journey for you. You said 53 treatment opportunities before you're 20. I can't even grasp what a challenge that was, and for you to be here in front of us today is remarkable. And then for you to go on and use that compassion to start a business to help others is absolutely amazing. I think I'm interested to hear from you what you think some of the barriers to success are throughout treatment. I hear you talk a little bit about the aftercare. And one of the things that is a little concerning, I think, not only to myself, but many of us, is just the prohibitive costs for people to access the treatment that they need to be a success story like yourself. As we're looking at this settlement and where we might be able to sort of move the needle and help others that are going through a similar situation, could you share a little bit with us in terms of how you were able to get, your program to accept Mass Health, where there might be opportunities where scholarships, could maybe augment people's ability to utilize these services, or any information you could shed would be
Absolutely.
helpful.
So our residential programs are around $1,000 a month, which, we see families usually help out for that first 30 days. We work with a few scholarship foundations that will pay the first 30 days. You know, and there's a couple other programs out there that have the same model as myself. So what we do is they get that first 30 days, they do some work on themselves, do some treatment, some step work, some therapy, and then we help them with, you know, career building exercises, building a resume, you know, communications, things like that. And we see guys go to work after the first, you know, 30 days, and then they're able to pay their way from there. So it's kind of just that initial payment of the first 30 days. That's a struggle for most people. So that's definitely a barrier, is the initial funds to get into treatment. Mass Health took us a little while to get a contract with them, but we've seen a huge success. So we have an outpatient program where we can take Mass Health. So it's like, you know, 9 to 2:30, Monday through Friday, they come in for therapy. A lot of individuals stay in one of our sober living homes and kind of go from there. But to answer your question, it's definitely just that initial, you know, push into treatment and the finances to help with that.
Great. Thank you very much. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
And best of luck with your continued sobriety and your continued hard work to help others.
Thank you.
Council Manning Martin.
Thank you. I just want to commend everyone that's here this evening with how far this program has come. It was mentioned that it began in 2008 for an underage alcohol use grant, and I think it was a pilot program, and it's evolved and grown tremendously as we've learned tonight. And I want to thank Sandy and Sarah for their 14 years of commitment to this program. Without such commitment, dedication, and drive, we wouldn't have all these services that are available to children, teens, and families within the community. They've really given their heart and soul to this program, and the city really owes them quite a bit of gratitude. I also wanted to just a shout out to former Mayor Bonfanti and former Chief Champagne for their foresight in kicking this off so many years ago, and also commend current Mayor Bonfanti and the current Chief Griffin, as well as Sharon Cameron, for all the support that they've given it over the years to bring it to where it is today, because it is such a need in the community. And given the pandemic and the increased issues with substance use and mental health issues that have, the pandemic just exacerbated, that we were lucky to have all these things in place. And without the commitment, all the individuals that are here tonight to present on this, we wouldn't have been able to be so successful. So I thank you all for all the good work that you've done over the years, and I thank you for continuing to do it.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also want to thank Sharon, Sarah, and Sandy for their diligent effort and relentless programs that keep on helping youth and those that need help in our community. It's also been a fun ride for 14 years. All the fun things that you incorporate in for the community as well as the kids. So keep up the good work. And Mayor and Chief Griffin, thank you for what you do. Joe, great job. 31 years sober myself, so
That's awesome.
Things get better every day. So keep up the good work.
Awesome. Thank you.
So very briefly, I'll just say that, because I know Joe's story personally, I don't want to say I lived it with him, but I was there for a lot of it. And again, saw his mother struggle. So one of the things that I have discussed with the mayor, and I'm not going to make a motion on this tonight because, as the mayor said, the financial portion of this, first I thought it was more than $50,000, so it's a very limited pool that the mayor has to deal with right now. But when we do hear this before finance and open the fund, I may ask that the mayor, through the Healthy Community, Peabody Community Collaborative in the Health Department, help with a portion of scholarship money for 30-day programs for our residents. So, I realized that we couldn't do an unlimited amount, but if we offered 5 one-month scholarships to parents that were struggling, I personally know through Joe's mother, I should have known this a long time ago, but she just had mentioned to me in general conversation about a month ago that she had to come up with $3,000 that she didn't have, and she scraped and and put it together so that he could stay in treatment. And being when I opened this, I said I had lost some siblings, and I guess I'm bitter I'd become a little bitter toward the system. But to see Joe succeed and to see that there are moms out there that will give anything to seek treatment for their kids, I just think that it might be something that we'd be able to help with if the parent of a Peabody resident calls and says, my child needs help, and I don't have $1,000 to put him in a 30-day program. If there's some form, and we could work those details out at a later meeting, but the mayor has said that he has some interest in doing that, so I'm hoping we can move forward with that. Joe, thank you very much. Rob, we're pressed for time, but if you want to come up for a minute and just introduce yourself, no? Okay, not a problem at all. I just didn't want you to come up here and not be able to speak if you wanted to. Yeah. So to everybody here, thank you very, very much. It's, again, eye-opening for me to see the services that this city offers, and that's to commend Mayor Betancourt for the amount of programs and services that I just saw in a 1-hour period are amazing. And Sarah and Sandy, thank you so much. I have always been a believer that it starts in the schools. I miss the days of the drug officer coming to the school with the briefcase full of drugs and scaring the life out of you. I wish we could still do it. I can remember Mickey Casoli, and Revere was our drug officer. Every kid in that city respected that man, and he stayed with kids. Not everybody was a success story, but he stayed with those kids, and even the people that weren't successes, he stayed with and tried to help, and they had a personal relationship with our drug officer of 30 years. So I think that takes its form with you two right now. So thank you so much, and I hope the kids of Peabody look back and say, Sandy's there to help me, or Sarah's there to help me in 5 years if they need you. So again, and Sharon, again, thank you for your information. Do they have a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Peabody City Council Finance Committee. Present for the committee this evening, Councilors Gamache, Gould, Manning, Martin, Turco, and myself, Council McGinn as chair. We have 4 items on the agenda tonight. First item, transfer of funds, various departments in an amount of $432,700. Mr. Gingras.
Thank you. This first request is to close out June 30th by moving amounts between accounts in the general fund budget and in the recreation enterprise along with the water sewer enterprise.
Questions from the committee? Questions from other councilors? Council Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mr. Gingras. There's a $45,000 transfer for the rubbish contract. Was there some sort of change, or do you know what was behind that?
There are a number of items in that account, and I believe that has to do with the leaf pickup and debris and things of that nature. And there's also no, that's it.
It was $45,000 that was not covered, that was an additional add to the rubbish contract? Was that what you're saying?
Yes, within that account, not necessarily the rubbish contract itself, but some of the various items that are applied there.
Thank you. And these pages aren't numbered, but I see legal expenses for $115,000. I know there's an explanation for a legal settlement on an additional page for $75,000, but what would the $115,000 be for legal expenses?
That was the additional costs of outside counsel for the 40B stuff.
So that would be the outside counsel for the ZBA
Yes.
for $115,000?
Council Manning Martin, point of information. I think if you're referring to, well, you're right, the pages aren't numbered, but it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th page in. These are supporting documentation summarizing prior transfers that have already happened, already been approved. That's what we've requested, that always be there for us. So obviously, you're fine to ask any question you want to ask, but just as a point of clarification, these were approved, that transfer that you're questioning was approved on May 5th. Thank you.
That was the $75,000, right? That was May 5th?
That was the legal, your most recent question was the,
$75,000, it says May 5th for legal settlement. That's correct, right. But I was looking for the $115 for the ZBA, the attorney hired for the ZBA.
yeah, about 3/4 of the way down the page, I see the 115 there.
And I do not, but that's okay, because he's explained it to me, so that's fine. So I just wanted to ascertain that that's for the ZBA's attorney for $115,000. And I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Manning Martin. Questions from any other councilors? Seeing none, Councilor Gould.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, if you're ready.
Please proceed with that motion, Councilor Gould.
I'm going to list all of the individuals, Mr. Chairman.
I think, why don't you break this into 3 motions, Councilor Gould?
Okay.
The first one can be
City budget.
in accordance with the communication from His Honor the Mayor. So
Okay.
that'd be the first one, 432, and then you
Thank
can
you.
do a separate motion for the 2 enterprise accounts.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to transfer from city budget, various department accounts, and there's an attached list, to various department accounts in the case of $432,700. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a
Councilor Gould.
motion to transfer from golf grounds, part-time wages account 440-06995-51120, the amount of $2,575. Water charges account 440-06995-52211, the amount of $17,000. Electricity account 440-06995-52114, in the amount of $4,000. And grounds improvement account number 400-06995-58199, in the amount of $6,600, for a total of $30,175. And transfer to skating rink overtime account 440-06990-51130, in the amount of $275. Supplies and repairs account 440-06990-54301, in the amount of $3,900. Golf club house salaries account 440-06998-51110, the amount of $18,000. Part-time wages account 440-06998-51120, in the amount of $4,000. Health insurance account 440-06998-51615, in the amount of $3,000. And administrations 440-06998-54230, in the amount of $1,000, for a total of $30,175. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Councilor Gould.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move from water sewer enterprise, water sewer current revenues account 460-000042121, in the amount of $368,850, and account sewer salaries 460-04400-51110, in the amount of $7,500, for a total of $376,350, and move that to sewer outside services account 460-04400-53125, in the amount of $231,500. Water overtime account 460-004-420-51130, in the amount of $37,000. Workman's compensation 460-04420-51611, the amount of $94,700. And lastly, material and supplies account 460-04420-54217, in the amount of $13,150, for a total of $376,350. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Second item on the agenda, transfer of funds, various department salaries. Mr. Gingras.
This next transfer request funds cost of living increase 2% for fiscal 2022 for all ordinance employees, along with the facilities department.
Questions from the committee? Councilor Manning Martin.
Is it, what section is this? Does this have the fire department in it?
The fire department one would be to receive tonight and put to committee.
Okay, but it's not in this one that we're approving
No.
right now. Thank you very much.
Other questions from the committee? Questions from other councilors? Seeing none, Councilor Gould.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like, ready to make a motion if you're, so be it. Would you like that from the, all on the left side over to the right side? Read each item?
Right, so...
We're going to do the budgeted
Let's
reserve,
do the same,
$400,000.
follow the same format. So
Okay.
the first one is the, for the $196,800, you can refer to the attachment. And for the two enterprises, you can make those separately.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was on the wrong page. Thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to transfer from salary reserve account number 10001320519252022 in the amount of $196,800 to various departments' salaries in the amount of $196,800. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Councilor
like to make a motion to transfer from current revenue water sewer enterprises the account number 460-000-00000 in the amount of $15,650 to sewer salaries, account 460-4400-51110 in the amount of $3,750. Water salaries, 460-4420-51110 in the amount of $11,900 for a total of $15,650. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion by Councilor Gould. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yeah.
Manning Martin. Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Councilor Gould.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to transfer from current revenue recreation enterprise account 440-000-00000 in the amount of $10,735 to account skating rink salaries, account number 440-6990-51110, the amount of $3,345. Golf ground salaries, account 440-6995-51110, in the amount of $4,055. And golf club house salaries, account 440-6998-51110, in the amount of $3,335 for a total of $10,735. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Yes. Gamache. Turco. McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next item on the agenda, transfer funds, CPC, purchase 69 Granite Road, an amount of $127,900, and historic preservation, $4,242.95. Mr. Gingras.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. Hope everybody's doing well. This is just a request to add to our open space here in the city. We get the opportunity to purchase 6.5 acres of property off of Granite Road. Granite Road is up behind Brown's Pond, but this 6.5 acres would touch a number of neighborhoods, including the back end of Tilly's Farm and Daniel Terrace over off Bartholomew Street. It's a great parcel that would be nice to keep as open space where it's not developed, and just add that to some of the open space that's in that area. I wanted to thank Kurt Bellavance, our Community Development Director, for his work in making this happen. He's been working with the family, and very happy to move this forward as just another effort for all of us to preserve open space in the city. And I'm appreciative of the Community Preservation Committee support in moving this forward. Happy to answer any questions or get any further detail. Our Attorney Brian Barrett did put together a purchase and sale agreement that was presented and signed by the seller, and I know that's in front of you, and I think we'll be scheduling an upcoming meeting for approval to authorize me to sign that purchase and sale agreement, and I think we'd be able to close pretty quickly on this. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just on the PNS, that's going to be a separate meeting of legal affairs. Questions from the committee? Questions from other councilors? Seeing none, what is the will of the committee? Councilor Gould?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to transfer from account 270-0000-33021, account CPC, open space, in the amount of $127,900 to account number 270-1811-5856-2023-0000000506, account CPC, purchase of 69 Granite Road, in the amount of $127,900. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Jingers.
The next request is a little housekeeping. There was some funds left over from the building department scanning project, and to move it back to historic preservation.
Questions from the committee? Questions from other councilors? Council Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to transfer from account 270-1811-585632-2021-0000000384, account preservation city building documents in the amount of $4,242.95, to account number 270-0000-33022, account historic preservations, again in the amount of $4,242.95. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next item on the agenda, cable fund expense, an amount of $210,950.28. I'll check this time. Mr. Jingers.
Thank you. Yeah, this request is to transfer money that we received for, from April to June for cable fees, and to be able to forward it to Peabody Access Television.
Questions from the committee? Questions from other councilors? Council Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to transfer from Receipts Reserve Cable Fund, account 270-0000-33017, in the amount of $210,950.28, to account Cable Fund Expense, account number 270-0000-53007, again in the amount of $210,950.28. So moves, Mr. Chairman.
Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
This
Motion
time,
to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
you heard the motion from Councilor Gould. All in favor? Any opposed? A vote. We're adjourned.
We're going to get started in 2 minutes. We're going to come to order. Good evening. The City Council will convene on Thursday, September 8th, to hold a regular meeting at 7:30 p.m. for the purpose of discussing any and all business via in-person and remote participation in accordance with Chapter 48 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Sections 20A, B, and C of the Acts of 2021, signed into law by Governor Baker on June 16, 2021. Alternative public access to this meeting shall be provided in the following manner. 1, the meeting is being televised live by Peabody Access Television on cable channel 9. 2, the real-time public comment during public hearings can be addressed to the Peabody City Council using the Zoom virtual meeting software for remote access. Users may view the meeting and make a comment or question to the chair via the audio option. Please visit www.peabody-ma.gov for Zoom information. This meeting is being taped by the Peabody Access Television and is being recorded by the City Council stenographer. Let's rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heard the motion from Councilor Gould to approve the record. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote.
Mr. President?
Moving on to item 4A, Councilor Gamache.
Yes, under suspension of the rules, I'd like to receive late communication number 1, and that is from the petitioner to withdraw, I'm sorry, that's the planning board, and late communication number 4 as well.
You heard the motion from Councilor Gamache to receive late 1 and late 4. And receive and approve, right, Councilor?
Receive and approve, yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote.
That this is in conjunction with the hearing scheduled tonight for 4A. They are requesting that they to withdraw. So I'd make that in the form of a motion to allow them to withdraw.
That was part of the, we
Okay.
accepted and
All right.
approved the
Well, I didn't
motion
know
to
if there was
withdraw.
going to be discussion on the motion.
Any discussion on the motion? I apologize, councilors. We did take, there were 2 late communications there. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Moving on to item 4B, the clerk will read the public notice.
Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Peabody, acting as the special permit granting authority, will conduct a public hearing on Thursday evening, September 8th, 2022, at 7:30 p.m. in the Frank L. Wigan Auditorium, 24 Lowell Street, Peabody, Mass., and remotely via Zoom on the application from City of Peabody, 24 Lowell Street, Peabody, Mass., for a special permit requesting the use of a children's museum at 10 Main Street, Peabody, Mass., as filed in accordance with Sections 4.2.3, 6.1, and 15.7 of the Peabody zoning ordinance. For remote participation using the Zoom platform, please visit www.peabody-ma.gov under Calendar on the homepage or contact the City Clerk's office. Peabody City Council, Councilor Ryan Melville, City Council President.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Good evening to you. Good evening, councilors. Hope everybody is doing well. Here today on really the final piece for the opening of our Children's Museum. I'm here today with our Executive Director, Ali Haydock, team member, Tim Brown, and Kurt Bellavance from our Community Development Director. I also want to recognize Camille Bartlett and Martha Holden. I believe they're watching tonight, members of our Board of Directors. I also wanted to recognize and thank Craig Welton. Craig is also, we asked Craig to be on our board with his background in nonprofits. He's been able to provide a great deal to us as well, and I wanted to thank Craig for assisting us over the last few months. Great deal of work is taking place. I'm happy. I think all of you know the details of the Children's Museum. I'm happy to touch on that. I won't tonight unless you'd like me to get into some issues. We do have Ali Haydock here today. She's prepared to kind of give an update on where we stand. A great deal of hiring is taking place and sponsorships and really exciting things happening that Ali could dig into and certainly available to answer questions as well. But we're asking today for the special permit, and we're looking at opening here within the next few weeks. And happy to answer any questions or get into further detail if the council would like. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? Does anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor of the application? Anybody on Zoom wish to speak in favor of this particular application? Anybody in the audience wish to speak in opposition? Anybody in the audience wish to speak in opposition? Anybody on the Zoom wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been in touch with the applicant, the mayor in this case, and the director, Ms. Haydick. As councilors know, the museum has been coming together for some time, and the special permit is one of the last items needed to facilitate the opening here in a few weeks. The location on Main Street is, as everybody knows, near the busy intersection of Main, Foster, Lowell, and Central Street, really right in the heart of the square. So my most significant concern was with how buses might interfere with traffic. Fortunately, there's a nearby loading zone on Main Street that should be able to accommodate the bus drop-offs and pickups for museum visitors. So I think that's going to allay that concern. The conditions I'm going to put forward have been reviewed with the applicant. They're all agreeable, and they do address the concern about the bus location. I support the application enthusiastically, and at this time I would defer to other councilors, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. Any councilors? Councilor Welton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to offer to the council that, as the mayor had mentioned, I've had the opportunity to meet with the group for the last month and a half, 2 months. I've been very impressed with Ms. Haydock's ability to identify private revenue sources, which I know the council was interested in seeing that become a possibility, and very excited to see that we're ahead of schedule in many areas, and definitely in no small part, huge thanks to Ally and Tim Brown and the rest of the folks on our committee. So it's been a pleasure working with you guys, and I'm looking forward to the museum opening as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Welton. Any other councilors? Councilor Turco.
Mr. Chairman, was it your intention to ask Ms. Haydock to come up and discuss those? Okay, then I have no questions. Thank you.
Just press the button and just give us your name and
Hi.
your position.
Ally Haydock, I'm the executive director of the museum. So thank you all for having me tonight. I'm excited to give a little update. I've been here now for, I think, 2 months exactly, and we've hit the ground running with at 10 Main Street. So we are hoping to open in early October, which is right around where we aim to open. We've got 3 staff hired starting, one is starting next week, and we have a couple more starting soon after. We're recruiting volunteers. We've had tremendous interest from the community. We've got over 30 people wanting birthday parties in our back room, which will be a great revenue stream. And we're really focused on access right now, so making sure that we can work with the library to have library discounts, free town days. I'm trying to identify funders to have a free Peabody day. Working with the schools, our goal is to have all kindergartners be able to have a field trip this year to the museum, which is 500 kids. But I've been working closely with Dr. Vidala and Mark Higgins over at the schools, and EBT card discounts, making sure that all of our residents, especially in Ward 2, can come to the museum and benefit from it being there. We've got 14 exhibits planned. They're all interactive, educational, that will really be enriching for kids who don't have the opportunity to go down to Boston or up to New Hampshire or have this kind of experience. And the last piece I just want to mention is we're working across the community right now collaboratively. We have 20 confirmed partners between the schools, nonprofits, companies, foundations who are already in helping us build out the exhibits. And we've got almost the same number, 16 pending partnerships right now that we've had initial meetings with. So we'll have, I think, over 50 people involved, 50 organizations from across the organization or across the community, in addition to funders. So it's going to be a really exciting part of the community to really strengthen and unite the families in this area.
Thank you. Any other councilors? Councilor Daigle.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to either Ms. Haydock or the mayor, I just have A couple quick questions. There's not going to be a dumpster on site, so what's the trash management pickup plan?
Yeah, so we have a dumpster in the back. We have a contract already with Republic Sanitation, so they'll have that pickup. And we'll also work with, I've already met with Sharon. She's come over and given her recommendations from a health standpoint, and we'll deal with any pest control protocols that are recommended.
Councilor Daigle?
Great, thank you. And I just want to mention, I see that I know there's some parking spots there. I think I would love to see that the employees park in the lot across the way to reserve more on-site parking for customers, kids with strollers, handicapped people, all that good stuff. But that's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great idea. We have, the back is not handicap accessible, which is one of the reasons we're glad there's the loading zone there in front, so people don't have to walk around the block. But I like the idea of having more visitor parking for sure.
Any other councilors? Seeing none, Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to close the public hearing.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn to close the public hearing. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the application of the City of Peabody, 24 Lowell Street, Peabody, Mass. for a special permit requesting the use of a children's museum at 10 Main Street, Peabody, Mass. as filed in accordance with sections 4.2.3, 6.1, and 15.7 of the Peabody zoning ordinance with the following conditions. Any bus drop-offs and pickups of museum visitors are to take place at the designated loading zone on Main Street or at the rear/Mill Street side of the building. Any truck deliveries are to take place at the designated loading zone on Main Street or at the rear/Mill Street side of the building. In accordance with the application, business hours of operation shall be Sunday through Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Thursday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Prior to any food being brought onto the premises, the applicant shall submit an integrated pest management plan to the health department. And for the avoidance of doubt, zoning ordinance section 5 shall apply, including the Peabody Downtown Design Standards Main Street Subdistrict to the extent such standards pertain to exterior renovations and signs. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rossignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Peach.
Yes.
Welton.
Yes.
O'Neill. McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 11-0.
Thank you, Council. We're planning a ribbon cutting, and we'll certainly be alerting everybody to that. Thank you for the support.
Thank you. Moving on to item 4C, the clerk will read the public notice.
Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Peabody will conduct a public hearing on Thursday evening, September 8th, 2022, at 7:30 p.m. in the Frank L. Wigan Auditorium, 24 Lowell Street, Peabody, Mass., and remotely via Zoom on the application from Peabody Tips, Inc., DBA Champions Pub, 114 Foster Street, Peabody, Mass., requesting a transfer and amendment to an existing entertainment license, specifically for non-live entertainment, television, radio, digital jukebox, and live entertainment, karaoke, DJ, and live music in the outdoor area, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., Thursday through Saturday at said 114 Foster Street, Peabody, Mass. For remote participation using the Zoom platform, please visit www.peabody-ma.gov under Calendar on the homepage or contact the City Clerk's office. Peabody City Council, Councilor Ryan Melville, City Council President.
Thank you. Would the applicant's representative just give us your name and address for the
Thank you.
record
My
and what
name
wanna
is
do?
John Kelty. I'm an attorney. I have offices at 40 Lowell Street here in Peabody, Mass. I'm appearing on behalf of Peabody Tips, Inc. This was advertised as a transfer and amendment of an existing outdoor entertainment license. When I did the application, I copied all the material from the existing application and then added there would possibly be a two-piece acoustical guitarist outside. And I sent 2 days ago or yesterday a letter withdrawing that portion of the application. So this would be, at this time, this would now become without the outdoor entertainment, which we've withdrawn from the consideration of the council. It would become a transfer of the existing the existing entertainment license. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. For Good Reasons, Inc. was Phil Mitchell and Kevin Holden, and Peabody Tips is Colin Target, Nicole Target, and Kyle Maltner, all of whom are younger family members of Phil Mitchell and Kevin Holden. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I know that there was neighborhood concern if there was going to be an addition of outdoor entertainment, but as I've stated, we're withdrawing that from as part of our request.
Mr. President, move to receive late communication 5.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. All right. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of the application? Anybody in the audience wishes to speak in favor? Anybody on Zoom wish to speak in favor? Anybody in the audience wish to speak in opposition? Anybody wish to speak in opposition? Anybody on Zoom wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. On suspension of the rules, move to receive item 8D and refer to this matter. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. On suspension of the rules, move to receive late communications 2, 3, 7, and 8 and refer to this matter. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. So item 8D and late communications 2, 3, 7, and 8 are all residential neighbor emails objecting to the live entertainment portion of the application. You heard Attorney Kelty make reference to that. Several of those who wrote those emails are in attendance here tonight and are now aware of the change to the application. I think there's actually a couple of folks in addition that did not write those emails. So as Attorney Kelty accurately represented under the as submitted, there was opposition. I think the fact that late communication 5, the email from Attorney Kelty withdrawing that request, does in fact just put this into the category of a straightforward transfer request of the existing license. I'm pleased to see that this landmark business is going to continue on in the family. Generally, it has not been problematic, and so I support the modified application, and at this time, I would defer to other councilors. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. Any other councilors? Any other councilors? Seeing none, Councilor McGinn.
Move to close the public hearing, Mr. President.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn to close the public hearing. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the application from Peabody Tips, Inc., doing business as Champions Pub, 114 Foster Street, Peabody, Mass., requesting a transfer to an existing entertainment license specifically for non-live entertainment, television, radio, digital jukebox at said 114 Foster Street, Peabody, Mass. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 11-0.
Thank you. Before we get started on items 4D and E, I'm going to have to recuse myself from both of those special permit hearings as they both are related to package store licenses that will have to go before the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission. And to ensure that there isn't the appearance of conflict between my position as a city councilor and my position as the deputy director of the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission, I'm going to be recusing myself. I'd ask Councilor Manning Martin to take the chair to handle those two hearings.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to item 4D, Cedar Liquors Incorporated, 113, 115 Main Street, to allow a retail store for packaged alcoholic beverages. Would the clerk please read the notice?
Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Peabody, acting as a special permit granting authority, will conduct a public hearing on Thursday evening, September 8th, 2022, at 7:30 p.m. in the Frank L. Wigan Auditorium, 24 Lowell Street, Peabody, Mass., and remotely via Zoom on the application from Sita Liquors, Inc., 17 Central Street, Peabody, Mass., for a special permit requesting to allow a retail store for packaged alcoholic beverages at 113 to 115 Main Street, Peabody, Mass. Is filed in accordance with Sections 4.2.5, 6.1, and 15.7 of the Peabody zoning ordinance. For remote participation using the Zoom platform, please visit www.peabody-ma.gov under Calendar on the homepage or contact the City Clerk's office. Peabody City Council, Councilor Ryan Melville, City Council President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Attorney Kelty?
Thank you, Madam President and members of the council. My name is John Kelty. I'm an attorney and I have offices at 40 Lowell Street, and I appear this evening on behalf of Sita Liquors, doing business currently at 17 Central Street in Peabody, Massachusetts. They are the package store in the block adjacent to the Peabody Car Wash, and they have been there for several years and are hoping to, they've entered into a long-term lease with the owners of property at 113, 115 Main Street, which is a former 7-Eleven located, and at a time very much earlier than that, it was Tom's Auto Repair. And we're seeking now to develop it as the site of the package store, Sita Liquors, which is doing business at 17 Central. That'll close and will locate up here. I have supplied you with a, I'm going to call it a sketch. I'm not sure it qualifies as that. I did quit architectural school kind of early. And what I've tried to do was take an actual 7-Eleven plan for the property, trace where the building is located, and then I've, through discussions with Councilor McGinn, I've tried to work up, and discussions with Sergeant Harkins, we've tried to work out what we think is a viable plan, both for deliveries of product to the premises, and we've tried to create the premises which currently is served by a double curb cut. Our proposal is to close the, that would be the easterly side of the curb cut. That would be the one closest to Holton Street. That'll be blocked off as to having a direct access to the street. We will enter from the westerly curb cut that is directly in front of the store, and then we will exit onto Holton Street. That would, the effort is to prevent any cars from backing over the sidewalk directly into Main Street. We're proposing to block off that easterly curb cut through the use of some kind of probably low ground planters, and so that we could not have access from that left or easterly side curb cut. Deliveries will be to the rear of the premises. Those trucks will enter at the curb cut, and then make a kind of a turn into Holton and back into that space to the rear of the premises. The square that shows in front of the area that is currently deliveries, where I've said would be deliveries, that's a dumpster, and that dumpster is more likely to move closer to the premises than it currently is, because it kind of sits in the middle of everything. There is a chain link fence that's out there today. I've got a note that says the chain link fence is to be removed. That was placed there when the 7-Eleven discontinued its operation, and the landlord found that people were dumping in the back, so the chain link fence prevented access from Holton Street in that particular area. That fence will come down, and we'll probably gain a parking space or two there and leave the other side of that space, that curb cut, to be an exit onto Holton. We would then add a sign that says either no right turn, because Holton is access only one way to Main Street, or it could say left turn only. I don't know what the preference of council may be. But with that, I've seen a series of conditions that Councilor McGinn and I have discussed, and I was fine and reviewed those conditions with my client, who is not here in person, but I believe is available through the Zoom platform, and we're happy to answer any questions that the board may have this evening.
Before we continue, would anyone like to accept this fine drawing
Move
as
to
a late
receive,
communication?
Madam Acting President.
Under suspension of the rules? Thank you. That would be late 6.
Late 9, I think.
Oh, sorry, late 9. Thank you. All in
Um,
favor, any opposed? It's a vote.
Madam President, while we're at it, under suspension of the rules, move to receive late communication 6 and refer to this matter. So move.
You heard the motion. All in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. Okay, I'll open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor? Anyone here to speak in favor of the applicant? Anyone on Zoom that would like to speak in favor of the applicant? Anyone on Zoom? Anyone in opposition? Anyone in the audience tonight in opposition? Being none, Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom to speak in opposition? Being none, I'll open it up to the council. Council McGinn.
Thank you, Madam Acting President. Late communication 6 that we just received is a more formal site plan that was missing from the application, as opposed to the sketch that we've also now received. I would say just generally, I'm concerned about the concentration of liquor stores in the downtown. I think really the city would be better served with these stores being spread around the city. But that's really more a matter for the licensing board than it is for the city council. This is a store that's moving from another downtown location, so it's not a net increase to the number of stores in the area. It's moving from Central Street to Main Street. This location on Main Street is going to afford it some parking, which it doesn't enjoy today on Central. And as Attorney Kelty mentioned, I was concerned about the initial parking plan that might cause some cars to back onto the adjacent sidewalk on Main Street when maneuvering to leave the premises. And those concerns were shared with the police department. Or I should say they shared the same concerns, which is what led to the conversation with Attorney Kelty and the adjusted flow that's represented in the sketch. The condition that I'll offer on that sketch will add a little more clarity, I think, than the sketch itself. Again, that was all reviewed with Attorney Kelty and his client, and they're agreeable to it. I think the solution here is ultimately going to be safer, more visually appealing than the layout that we saw with the prior use, which was a convenience store. So I support the application, and at this time I defer down to the councilors. Thank you, Madam Acting President.
Thank you, Council McGinn. Questions from the council? Council Rosignol?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Councilor McGinn, when you make your motion, will you be adding conditions regarding blocking that first entrance in the rendering?
Of course, go ahead.
Yep,
Councilor McGinn.
thank you. Through you to Councilor Rosignol. Yes, and the means of blocking it will be described as well.
Thank you. Thank God for Google Maps so that I could actually see the area as opposed to the rendering. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
It's kind of you to call that a rendering.
It's through you to
Councilman
President to Councilor Rosendahl. It's, you know, as you look at up and down Main Street, we don't really have any other use along that corridor that has these characteristics, which is what raised the concern. It's a very, very wide, safe sidewalk and in that area, and the idea here is to make sure that we don't jeopardize that at all.
Councilor Rossignol?
Thank you. To that point, I think by blocking that second entrance, that will actually make it safer for pedestrians as well as traffic. So I think that's a great compromise. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other councilors? Being none, I have a couple of questions. Councilor McGinn. This is the old...
That's correct.
And under what circumstances did the 7-Eleven close down? Did we have incidents there? Were there a lot of police activity?
I don't have that data at my fingertips, but I can share with you that, you know, at least anecdotally, yes, is the answer. That was referred to by the police to me on more than one occasion as a hotspot.
Thank you. That's what I had thought as well. And can I ask, in your conditions, because I share the concerns that you had mentioned, Councilor McGinn, that we're having a packy on every corner downtown. I'm not too keen on this application myself. So, but I did want to ask you about the hours of operation. This is a package store. Page 4 of 7 in the application. It has hours of operation 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday. Now, it's not a convenience store anymore. It's just selling alcohol. So why would they?
I don't think I can serve.
That's one point. Thank you for interrupting me to. Thank you. And on the back end, if I may, Counselor, 10 p.m. on Sunday. On Sundays, you can't sell alcohol till it stops at 6 o'clock. So the hours don't coincide with the law of selling alcohol. So is that addressed in your conditions?
The hours I have in the conditions parrot what's in the application, and that may be an oversight on my part, frankly. I did briefly check the Mass General law on this. I was under the impression that that there are restrictions on the hours, but that locally the latitude exists for the licensing board to extend those hours. They can only extend them so far, and I may have made a bad assumption that was done in this instance, or that those hours would not have been in the application. But I need to now confirm that with Attorney Kelty. Do those hours jive with what was approved by the licensing board?
I did not. I'm not certain. I don't know the answer to that. I did not represent them before the licensing board. That was done by an Arthur Feldman. So if we wanted to say that it would be in accordance with Mass General laws with respect to package store licensing, or the licensing board, that it parallel those, that would be fine with me. Councilor Peach and I were just discussing that we both thought that you can't serve on Sunday before 11.
If I may, Councilor Kelty, back to you, Councilor McGinn. Yeah, there's definitely something that needs to be ironed out here. But in addition to that, I have concerns that anything beyond 6 o'clock on Sunday, I mean, here we have the 7-Eleven, it was, as you mentioned, it was a hotspot for the police, and now we're going to replace it with a Packy. And if they're going to be open beyond 6 o'clock, when all the other Packies around are closed at 6 o'clock on Sunday, that is going to be a super duper hotspot. People rushing there for alcohol because it's open later than anyone else. So I think that we have I've got major concerns about this application, more so as we speak of it than I did entering into this evening. My major concern earlier was, we're trying to clean up the downtown. We have a children's museum in the vicinity, and this just isn't my idea of what we should be attracting downtown. I think we should be a rising tide raises all ships. I don't see this as adding at all to the vision that we've been working hard for several years to brighten up and enhance our downtown and bring types of businesses that will bring families and pedestrians, foot traffic. This doesn't do it for me. So if you are going to continue to support this, those hours of operation really need to be lawful and tightened up and not have any extra leeway to be open any longer than any of the other package stores throughout the city. I think we have, how many in that facility? You have the Corkscrew, you have the one right next door to it, we have McManus right next to Stanzi's. We have one over at, that's 3, and then there's a 4th one by the other 7-Eleven, which I hate the name of it, so I won't say it. So that's, is that 4 or 5 that I just counted off without adding this one here? Council Peach?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to clarify, Mass General Law requires package stores cannot open until 10 on Sundays. They can remain open till 11 or 11:30 p.m. So my comment, while I agree if this was a new package store to our downtown, I probably wouldn't be in favor of this, as Councilor McGinn alluded to previously. This liquor store currently operates in Ward 3, and they'll be moving over. The hours of operation proposed are their current operating hours. So to limit their business, I would not be in favor of, so I would support the requested hours.
Thank you. So maybe you can answer my question. We have package stores in the city that close at 6 on Sunday, right? Councilor Turco.
Thank you. I was actually just going to look it up very briefly, and I didn't. So I believe that D&L on Foster Street is open late on Sundays. I'm quite sure I've been there after 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So I think there are some. So I think it's something that we need to sort out before we make a decision on one particular liquor store.
That's where I'm headed as well, because if we are going to, if this is coming to light that we have some that are, the other ones are going to come forward and look for extended hours, which that would be their right. But it seems as though we don't have the accurate, or we're kind of figuring out as we go along here. But I'll kick it back to Councilor McGinn.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Acting President. I would certainly modify the condition to indicate that the hours are in accordance with Mass General Law. I'm not sure what we can, if we're really in a position to do much beyond that in terms of restricting it. And I would leave it at that broadly because the Mass General Law does allow, I think, some leniency on the part, or some, I should say, flexibility on the part of the local licensing board to adjust, but that would be a licensing board decision, not necessarily a city council decision. So, so that would be my suggestion. I would modify the condition that, again, parroted these hours out of the application and modify that to just state that it would be, that they would need to comply with Mass General Law.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. And I think we do have say in hours of operation over the licensing board. just as any other business. We have the restaurants and bars and whatever establishment, their entertainment license, we dictate what their hours of operation are. So I don't think that, I would disagree with you just on my thoughts on that, but I'll follow up as well. But I think we can dictate their hours of operation as any other business in the city of Peabody. So those are my thoughts. Thank you. Councilor O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to comment that certainly, as some have alluded to, the Mass State general law as well governs the sale of alcohol throughout the state, and then we have the licensing board, which has ruled. I would like to have the hours, but to Councilor Peach's comments, it's a current business. They have these hours right now. I don't feel like we should punish them unless there's been an issue with how they operate. So I just wanted to make that. I'm in full support of the hours that have been requested. Thank you.
Any other comments? Being none, Councilor McGinn.
Thank you. Move to close the public hearing.
You heard the motion. All in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you. Move to approve the application from City Liquors, Inc., 17 Central Street, Peabody, Mass. For a special permit requesting to allow a retail store for packaged alcoholic beverages at 113, 115 Main Street, Peabody, Mass. As filed in accordance with Section 4.2.5, 6.1, and 15.7 of the Peabody zoning ordinance with the following conditions. Customer and employee vehicles shall be parked generally in accordance with the site sketch presented at the public hearing. With an objective of maximizing pedestrian and vehicle safety, this layout features A, primarily angular parking at the front of the building, B, a single vehicular access to the property from Main Street, C, a single vehicular exit from the property onto Holton Street, D, a no right turn sign at the exit, E, parking area striping and arrows that encourage proper vehicle flow, and F, a blockage of one of the existing entry points from Main Street utilizing a planter or similar visually appealing feature. Number 2, truck deliveries that take place at the rear of the building. Number 3, hours of operation shall be in accordance with Mass General Law. 4, dumpsters will be screened from view from Main Street, Holton Street, and any abutting residential properties. 5, the applicant shall submit an integrated pest management plan to the Health Department. 6, for the avoidance of doubt, zoning ordinance Section 5 shall apply, including the Peabody Downtown Design Standards, Main Street Subdistrict, to the extent such standards pertain to exterior renovations, parking areas, lighting, and signs. So moved.
You heard the motion. Remarks on the motion? Being none, roll call.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rossignol.
Yes.
Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Daigle.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
No.
Motion carries 9-1.
Thank you, Attorney Kelty, and you are up on the next one as well. Let's see, where are we? Item 4E, special permit, GK Liquors, 23 Central Street, allow retail store for packaged alcoholic beverages. Another packy. Would the clerk please read the notice?
Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Peabody, acting as the special permit granting authority, will conduct a public hearing on Thursday evening, September 8th, 2022, at 7:30 p.m. in the Frank L. Wigan Auditorium, 24 Lowell Street, Peabody, Mass., and remotely via Zoom, on the application from GK Liquors, Inc., 23 Central Street, Peabody, Mass., for a special permit requesting to allow a retail store for packaged alcoholic beverages at said 23 Central Street, Peabody, Mass., as filed in accordance with Sections 4.2.5, 6.1, and 15.7 of the Peabody zoning ordinance. For remote participation using the Zoom platform, please visit www.peabody-ma.gov under Calendar on the homepage, or contact the City Clerk's office. Peabody City Council, Councilor Ryan Melville, City Council President.
Thank you. To you again, Attorney Kelty.
Thank you, members of the City Council. My name is John Kelty. I'm an attorney with offices at 40 Lowell Street in Peabody. I appear on behalf of GK Liquors, Inc. Their corporate address is 23 Central Street in Peabody, Massachusetts. The address of the property is 23 Central Street here in Peabody, Massachusetts. The owner of the land is Alina LLC of 35 Boston Street, Middleton, Mass. The business that currently operates there is Corkscrew Liquors. Corkscrew has entered into a purchase and sale agreement for the purchase of the business only sale from Corkscrew to GK Liquors, Inc. They will continue to do business as Corkscrew. However, there will be new ownership in the form of this corporation. This is an actual request for the issuance of a special permit. We could not find at the time of filing transfer papers with the licensing board. We could not find in the building permit jacket that there was ever a special permit issued for this property. I certainly did not do it those several years ago. That's a fairly new mall. So we're asking tonight that also, not only are you considering transferring to the new corporation, but you're actually going to issue a special permit for this particular site. With that, I can answer questions that you may have.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience to speak in favor of this application? Anyone in the audience in favor? Anyone on Zoom in favor that'd like to speak? Anyone on Zoom? Being none. Anyone in the audience to speak in opposition of this application? Anyone in opposition on Zoom? No one is on Zoom. No one to speak against. That being said, Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Madam President. I had the opportunity to speak with Attorney Kelty on this application. As he stated, this is an existing business that is transferring to a different incorporation, so I don't have any issues with it. There have been no issues brought to my attention with the property or the current business on the property. So I'd be in favor of basically transferring this special permit to the new business.
You, Councilor Peach. Councilor Gamache.
In reference to Councilor, if I may, Councilor Kelty, there's a permit, special permit in the application from Councilor Mello, because I was on the council back then when it was granted, dated 2005, May 27th. So there is a special permit on file with us. I don't know about the liquor board, but it's right here in your application.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that for Councilor.
Yep, thank you.
Right.
Any other councilors? No councilors. Councilor Peach.
Move to close the public hearing.
I'm going to close the public hearing. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to approve the special permit application from GK Liquors, Inc., 23 Central Street, Peabody, Mass. for a special permit requesting to allow a retail store for packaged alcohol beverages at said 23 Central Street, Peabody, with the condition that hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday, with hours from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Sunday all in accordance with Mass General Law.
You heard the motion. Remarks on the motion, Councilor McGinn.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I'm going to request just a little latitude. This is really not on the motion. I just was slow on the uptake here with the note from the collector's office. Has that been resolved?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councilor McGinn, I don't believe it's been resolved, but this is a leasee, not the owner of the property, so I would not hold them responsible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council McGinn. Any further remarks from councilors? Being none, Councilor Peach.
We good? We can vote?
Oh, yes, okay, we closed the public hearing. Okay, roll call on the motion.
Councilors Gould. Yes. Rossignol.
Yes.
Peach.
Yes.
Welton.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Daigle.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Thank
you, councilors.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice evening.
Counselor. And I like your jacket this evening. It's lovely. Take a 2-minute recess and we'll find Council President Melville.
Get started in 1 minute. All right, councilors, we're going to begin with item 5, reports of committee. The first committee to report was the Ad Hoc Committee on Drug Education Awareness. Councilor Turco. Report of committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a report of the Council's Committee on Drug Awareness. Members present were Councilor Manning Martin and Councilor Welton and myself. Additional councils present were Councilor Gould, Councilor Rossignol, Councilor Peach, Councilor O'Neill, Councilor McGinn, and Councilor Daigle. I had asked the mayor, Sandy Grover and Sarah Goodell from the Peabody Health Collaborative, and Joseph Simonelli from Vision from Hope and Woburn Wellness to speak about the opioid or the overdose numbers within the city of Peabody throughout the pandemic, and also in treatment options available to Peabody residents. And with regard to a recent settlement to the city of Peabody for the opioid class action lawsuit that the city of Peabody enjoined several years back. And the first settlement check came in July of this year. The mayor presented on that and also presented us a late communication, which I believe is late 10, which would have been the guidelines for expenditures out of the opioid settlement funding. And I'll take a motion. There was a motion by Council Manning Martin.
You heard the motion from Councilor Turco. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the mayor presented that there was roughly $50,000 in the first check through that settlement that had strict guidelines on what we could spend it for. So the mayor will be working on that. If any councils had any suggestions, he is open to those suggestions. We then heard from Sandy Grover and Sarah Grinnell from the Healthy Peabody Collaborative that explained all the programs that they have implemented throughout the school system, both elementary, middle, and high school, in order to provide information and with the opioid epidemic, as well as mental health issues. They discussed their partnerships with the schools, the recreation department, business sector, media, police department, health department, Mass Call 3, and the local government. And then we spoke with Sharon Cameron, and Sharon came up and was more specific. She presented us with what I'll say is late 11, a flyer, which is contact information for behavioral health through Mass Health and also through Beth Israel Leahy. Those numbers are posted on the Peabody Health website. If there are residents that are looking for an outreach or some help with behavioral health. Sharon also gave us late 12, which is the interface referral service for drug rehabilitation services and aftercare services. And they actually, as explained by Ms. Cameron, get very specific with this helpline. Again, also available on the City of Peabody website for people that may know somebody that's seeking help with addiction. They're very detailed as far as what type of treatment or you may need, and they'll make a match specifically to your criteria. I so wish that I could get more into detail into the hour-long conversation about everything that was discussed. I hope that people go back and watch these, the hour. There are so many services that were given to us tonight. I myself was surprised at what the city offers. Additionally, Joseph Simonelli from Woburn Wellness spoke about one of the issues that aftercare, people deal with in aftercare, is the cost. And, it can sometimes cost $1,000 or more a month to get somebody into a longer-term program. And at times, there's things that are referred to as scholarships to people that request them through different state agencies or organizations to fund the first 30 days in a program, or even up to the second 30 days until people can get on their feet and pay the $1,000 a month themselves to stay in treatment. I had asked the mayor prior to the meeting and discussed that the potential of providing some of those scholarships to our residents with parents or any resident that may be in need of that first 30 days through some funding through the opioid pandemic. He's open to that. I think it'll be open for later discussion when we lock up the funding itself into, which I guess we're going to do sometime next week at the next council meeting. With that, thank you all for being at that meeting. It was a great meeting, very informative for everybody.
Thank you, Council. The clerk just wants a motion to receive those two late communications you had mentioned.
My apologies. That motion was made by both motions were made by Councilor Manning Martin during the meetings.
You heard the motion, Councilor Turco. All in favor? Any opposed? Councilor Gould.
Thank you. Not on the motion, but I just want to acknowledge Councilor Turco's great work on this. This is something that it really, if you think about it, if you can help someone for the first 30 days, it gives them a jump start. And whatever we can do, Councilor, personally or together as a team, I think we ought to pursue it. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Regarding the two late communications, all in favor? Any opposed to the vote? Thank you, Councilor Turco. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee of the Peabody City Council met early this evening. Present for the committee were Councilors Gamache, Gould, Manning, Martin, Turco, and myself as chair. All other councilors were present. We had 4 items on the agenda. The first item was a transfer of funds, various departments. This was presented by the Finance Director, Mr. Gingras. This is a series of transfers required to close out fiscal '22. The first motion was made by Councilor Gould as follows. Move to approve transfer from city budget various departments in the list attached to his communication from His Honor the Mayor dated 8th August 2022 to various departments listed in that same communication in the same amount of $432,700. That motion passed in committee, Mr. President, unanimously. I now make that motion for consideration for the full council. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache. Turco.
Yes.
Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 11-0.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. On that same first item, there was a second motion made by Councilor Gould as follows. Move to approve transfer request recreation enterprise from golf grounds part-time wages, account number 440-06995-51120, an amount of $2,575. Water charges, account number 440-06995-52211, an amount of $17,000. Electricity, account number 440-06995-52114, an amount of $4,000. And ground improvements, account number 400-06995-58199, an amount of $6,600 for a total of $30,175. To skating rink overtime, account number 440-06990-51130, an amount of $275. Supplies and repairs, account number 440-06990-54301, an amount of $3,900. Golf clubhouse salaries, account number 440-06998-5110, an amount of $18,000. Part-time wages, account number 440-06998-51120, an amount of $4,000. Health insurance, account number 440-06998-51615, an amount of $3,000. Administration, account number 440-06998-54230, an amount of $1,000 for a total of $30,175. That motion passed committee unanimously, Mr. President. Now bring that for consideration of the full council. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache. Daigle. Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. The last portion of that item was, there was an additional motion by Councilor Gould to approve the transfer of water and sewer enterprise from water and sewer current revenue, account number 460-000042121, an amount of $368,850. Sewer and sewer salaries, account number 460-044-005-1110, an amount of $7,500 for a total of $376,350. To sewer outside services, account number 460-044-005-3125, in the amount of $231,500. Water overtime, account number 460044205113 in the amount of $37,000. Workers' comp, account number 46004420511611 in the amount of $94,700. And materials and supplies, account number 460044205417 in the amount of $13,150 for a total of $376,350. That account, that motion, Mr. President, passed the committee unanimously. I now bring that for consideration of the full council. So moved.
Thank you, Councilman McGinn. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache. Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next item on the agenda was various department salary transfer requests. This was presented by Mr. Gingras, and separate and distinct from that first section, which dealt with fiscal 22. These were deal with the fiscal 2023 budget. There were three motions made by Councilor Gould. The first was to approve the transfer request salary reserve account 10001320519252022 in an amount of $196,800 to various department salaries in an attached list to a communication from His Honor the Mayor dated August 17th, 2022, in the same amount of $196,800. That motion passed committee unanimously, Mr. President. I'll bring that for consideration of the full council. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache. Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next portion of that item was a motion by Councilor Gould to approve transfer request current revenue water and sewer enterprise, account number 46000000000, an amount of $15,650 to sewer salaries, account number 46044005110, an amount of $3,750, and water salaries, account number 46044205110, in an amount of $11,900. That motion passed committee unanimously, Mr. President. I'll bring that for consideration of the full council. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould. Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache. Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. The last portion of that item was a motion by Councilor Gould to approve transfer request current revenue recreation enterprise, account number 44000000000, an amount of $10,735 to skating rink salaries, account number 4406990511110, an amount of $3,345. Golf ground salaries, account number 4406995511110, an amount of $4,055, and golf club house salaries, account number 4406998511110, an amount of $3,335. That motion passed the committee, Mr. President, unanimously. I now bring that for consideration of the full council. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache. Daigle. Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next item on the agenda was a transfer of funds, CPC purchase of 69 Granite Road in an amount of $127,900, and historic preservation in an amount of $4,242.95. First portion of that was presented to the committee by His Honor the Mayor, who has advocated for this open space purchase, which was approved by the Community Preservation Committee on a parallel track. One, CPC open space, an amount of $127,900 to account number 1-811-585-62-2023-0000000506, CPC purchase 69 Granite Road, an amount of $127,900. Mr. President, that motion passed the committee unanimously, and I now bring it for consideration of the full council. So moved.
Hear the motion from Councilman McGinn. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache. Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Council McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. And the second portion of that item is 70000330022, historic preservation, an amount of $4,242.95. Mr. President, that motion passed the committee unanimously, and now bring it for consideration of the full council. So moved.
Heard the motion from Councilman McGinn. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould. Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache. Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Council McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. The last item on the agenda was transfer fund cable fund expense, an amount of $210,950.28. This was presented to us by Mr. Gingras. This is a routine matter that comes before us a few times per year to move money that is paid by the cable providers in the city to the cable fund expense. There was a motion made by Councilor Gould as follows: move to approve receipts reserve cable fund, an amount of receipts reserve cable fund account number 2700000330017, an amount of $210,950.28 to cable fund expense account number 2700000530007, an amount of $210,950.28. Mr. President, that motion passed the Finance Committee unanimously. I now bring it for consideration of the full council. So moved.
Hear the motion from Council McGinn. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Peach.
Yes.
Welton. O'Neill.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Daigle.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
Motion carries 10-0.
Council McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. That completes the report of committee.
Thank you, Councilor. We're going to move on to motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Gould.
Thank you. I have no motions, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gould. Councilor Rozignol.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under suspension of the rules, motion to receive and approve all papers being in order. Item 9A, Higgins Middle School banner request. So moved.
Heard the motion from Councilor Rozignol. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Rozignol.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion. A few months ago, we had Captain Richards here before us regarding Linfield Street and Casco. I honestly think that area is getting worse, not better. I literally witnessed a head-on collision just a week ago, which not only was there an accident there, it also resulted in another car accident on Goodwin Circle. So my motion would be to have Captain Rich, and I know where that particular spot is literally 3 different towns in one spot. And I know he said that he was going to reach out to both Lynn and Linfield regarding that area. So my motion would be to send this to public service and have an update from Captain Richards before that area completely gets out of hand. So moved.
Councilor, the public safety?
Public safety, correct.
Hear the motion from Councilor Rozignol. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Rozignol.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last December, we had an impassioned public safety meeting where residents spoke. We had Representatives Walsh, Cairns, and Senator Lovely here regarding 114. That's another area that is not getting better. It is completely getting worse, and it's getting more and more out of hand. We had Mass DOT here as well, and they recognized the issues. Again, sending to public safety, I would like all of those representatives as well as Mass DOT to come give us an update on what's been done. It's been over 10 months. I think that's adequate time for at least some sort of update on any sort of progress regarding the 114 corridor, as well as, which extends from Wilson Square all the way through past the mall. So moved.
You heard the motion from Council Rosal. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. Council Rossignol.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lastly, a while ago, we had received a mandate from the MBTA multifamily housing. We asked Allison to send a letter through you, Mr. President, to Allison. Was a letter ever drafted or sent?
No, I did not receive any comments from any councilors to draft a letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So with that said, I would like to, and I will send this communication to the clerk to have this sent to the governor, the Department of Housing and Community Development, Rep. Walsh, Rep. Cairns, and Senator Lovely. We, the City Council of Peabody, is writing this letter to formally state our opposition of the mandatory housing initiative, the zoning for multiple family housing in MBTA communities. We, the City Council of Peabody, feel this is an extreme overreach of power, and to compound this error in judgment, tying this to much-needed funding for communities is reckless and irresponsible. This legislation does not take into account what communities have already implemented as far as a housing production plan, 40B initiatives, residential overlays, infrastructure needs, water and power resources, and quality of life, just to name a few. I understand the need for housing, but this legislation and this family multi-zone housing bill is a gross overstep by the state and is completely unwanted in Peabody. Sincerely, the Peabody City Council. So moved.
You heard the motion from Council Rossignol, and your motion, Council, is to send exactly what you just stated, correct? Okay.
Packet next week.
Is it in our pack? Is the motion to receive, send it to us to review
Send it
it?
to you, yes, correct.
All right, Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to Council Rossignol. So since that initial presentation by Community Development and the request to send something to the state has issued revised guidelines on this legislation. Peabody's category has changed. They've actually eliminated the category of MBTA bus community. So we no longer fall into that category. We fall into the adjacent community category because of our proximity to Salem. They've also adjusted a number of the parameters in terms of the size of the area that needs to be zoned for multifamily housing and so forth. So there's a whole, and they've relaxed some of the timelines associated with compliance. The initial action that municipalities now need to take is January of next year, and that January requirement is like, I went online and looked at it, it's like 5 or 6 questions that community development needs to answer. Beyond that, we've got another 2 years to assimilate to evaluate the impact of all this. So there was also a webinar on this today that I sat in on. There's a whole host of additional information out there that explains the new guidance, which is vastly different than what we were looking at when this was first presented to us by Community Development, which I shared your strong concerns with. So I guess my suggestion, Councilor Gould, would be to, I'm sorry, Councilor Rossignol, I apologize, would be to maybe take an offer. This came out in August, late August, when we were still on break and so forth, so I can certainly understand why it wasn't, common knowledge to the rest of the council. But my suggestion might be to maybe everybody get an opportunity to familiarize ourselves with how this stands in its new form, and should there be a communication, we can be based on the most current information rather than what we were dealing with several months ago. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman McGinn. Councilor Rossignol.
Thank you, Mr. President. I still think the fact that the state is having this initiative is a gross overstep. I will modify my motion or actually remove my motion, and just ask that Kurt Bellavance come before us and go review all of the new changes and the new guidelines that the state is all of a sudden changing because they realize that this is really legislation that was, in my opinion, ill thought.
Would you like it to be in front of the community development?
It's been in IDC, so
ICD.
continue there. Yep.
Okay, you heard the motion from Councilor Rosendahl. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Rosendahl.
Thank you. No more motions, Mr.
Thank
President.
you, Councilor Rosendahl. Councilor Manning Martin. Thank you, Councilor Manning Martin. Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to have Captain Richards of the Peabody Police Department look into the need of a handicap spot being added to the parking adjacent to 28 Harris Street. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor Peach. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no further motions, but I did just want to thank Engine 4. There were several fires in Ward 3 this past weekend, kind of all consecutively, one after the other. The firefighters of Engine 4 responded to all of them. Fires that could have been a lot more detrimental were quickly stopped and handled very professionally, and just wanted to extend my thanks because Ward 3 really does appreciate having them so close by to help us out when needed.
Thank you, Councilor Peach. Councilor Manning Martin.
Just through you to Councilor Peach, on your request for handicap parking, is that for a private residence?
That is for a street handicap spot. Yes, for a resident.
So you can make a motion to have that signage put up. You don't have to go through Captain Richards. So if you'd like to take care of that, you can do that.
I'd like the police to. I've had conversations with Captain Richards and others in the police department. I feel, especially in my ward, street parking is very limited, and to have some sort of formal process where the need can be vetted to make sure that taking a street spot away from other residents to provide for one is actually truly needed, and there's no other option for that resident, I think is important. So.
Thank you, Councilor Peach. And Councilor Welton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to Councilor Rossignol, just for point of clarification on your motion regarding Linfield Street, would you be willing to amend that to also include the intersection of Linfield and Bartholomew Street?
Absolutely.
In
make another motion if you want.
Yeah.
Instead
So
of amending that.
all right. Well, then I'll make another motion then. Before I do, I want to share your frustration, Councilor Rossignol. I think it's been it's been over a year since we first brought this forward at the last council. Particularly, I'd like to see World Tech come before us with a quote of how much it'll cost to, whether it's fog lines or whatever, so we can move it out of committee into an actual vote. So I guess I'll make a motion that in addition to Councilor Rossignol's request, that we also request Captain Richards, World Tech, and DPS to come before the Municipal Safety Committee, particularly in regards to the intersection at Bartholomew and Linfield Street. So moved.
Heard the motion from Councilor Welton. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Welton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to, under suspension of rules, move to receive item 8A. And on that, Mr. President, I just want to make sure I'm referring this appropriately. Should this be going to Human Services Committee, or should it also be going to Finance or Legal regarding
We did it in Human Services when we originally implemented it.
Okay, so then move to receive and refer to Human Services. So moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor Welton. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Welton.
And lastly, I would just, if anyone has, any of my fellow councilors has anything else that they would like in front of the Human Services agenda, this will be the first time that we're meeting in quite some time. So if there are any human service related issues, please let myself know or let Clerk Danforth know so we can add that to the agenda for the next meeting. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Welton. Councilor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. President. No motions this evening, but I did want to say a word of thanks and gratitude to the Department of Public Services for project work that they just completed up at the far end of Russell Street on the Middleton border at the walking bike path, recreation area, trail. And as a result of a motion I made a few months ago, which is supported unanimously by my fellow councilors, they were able to create a new sidewalk coming from the parking lot to the crossing and actually install flashing lights at that busy intersection. So very happy they were able to do that. It's going to improve safety in a busy intersection and allow for safer use by everyone. So thank you to them.
Thank you, Councilor O'Neill. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. On suspension of the rules, move to receive item 7A and refer to finance. So moved.
Heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. All in favor? Any opposed? The vote. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. On suspension of the rules, move to receive item 7B and refer to finance. So moved.
Heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. All in favor? Any opposed? The vote. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Not a motion, but just a reminder to everyone. It's kind of hard to have missed this at this point, but the International Festival is going to be back here on Sunday, so I think we're all looking forward to that, all looking forward to coming to Ward 2 to, it's a, not a Ward 2 event by certainly, but be excited to see everybody back and after a two-year hiatus, and hopefully people will get out and attend, and also remembering that this is fall, it just happens to fall on 9/11. There'll be a commemoration, 9/11 commemoration incorporated into the event. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. Councilor Daigle.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under suspension of the rules, move to receive item 8B and set up a public hearing.
You heard the motion from Councilor Daigle. You heard the motion from Councilor Daigle. We also have to refer this to the planning board as well, Councilor, as part of your motion.
Okay.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to Councilor Day. We've typically been referring these to industrial and community development first. So planning board and industrial community development.
Yeah, we can do all three is what we've been doing,
Okay,
according to the
thank you.
clerk. So yeah, the motion would be to set up a public hearing and to refer to ICD and the planning board.
Perfect, so moved.
You heard the motion from Councilor Daigle. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Daigle.
And I'm also going to receive item 8C, and what's appropriate for that? Is that just a special permit hearing or transfer? I'm just receiving it. Thank you very much.
You heard the motion to receive and approve item 8C. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Daigle.
No further motions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Daigle. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. You hear the motion. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.